Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Warped, the completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast, where we provide live, unasked-for audio commentary to Star Trek The Next Generation episodes. My name is Matt.
I'm Sean.
I'm Jake.
Leap.
Erin.
Minh.
The whole crew's back.
Yay!
Oh, Minh is here. I didn't hear her voice.
Our Whoopi Goldberg is here.
Yes.
We're recording in the middle of the afternoon, which we have not done in a long time. Like,
It's sexy.
it feels weird to be doing this in daylight.
Mhm.
I feel a little bit of shame that
We haven't done
people might be able to see me.
remote.
Are you
Yeah.
more or less drunk?
I'm not completely sober.
Wow,
Which is another-
that's a problem.
We
This
haven't
could
done
be a
that in a
problem.
while either. So, yeah. What are we doing today, Sean?
Today we are watching Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 21, Symbiosis.
Uh-huh.
I got 45 minutes and 41 seconds on the clock, and I'll be punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1, punch.
There she
She
is.
is.
Ooh,
Son.
symbiotically
I
orbiting
thought
the sun.
I don't know who this guy is, but for some reason he gets the first shot of the.
Yeah, if you're gonna be in the Delos system, that guy gets first first shot, and that's where we are.
So
He's
we're
got
doing
that
like
car mechanic outfit on. Very different.
like Carhartt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
don't
think
I've
those
ever
guys
seen
are like those guys are like the technicians who aren't like full. They're not like officer level. They're like non-coms or whatever, so they don't get to wear the regular uniform.
trash.
Yeah.
Space trash is what
They're like the janitorial staff and people
Yeah.
like that who work on the ship.
Damn, Philippe
the
calling the
janitor-
janitorial staff is trash. That's not cool.
No, I didn't say the janitorial stuff. I think they should be officers, and all those like engineers in this. There's a flip on it, and they're like the non-com trash. Like, oh, an engineer. I'm custodial services, and so like that has more prestige in space. That's what.
Yeah.
Wow, that's you got a real social revolution going on there.
Yeah, I'm flipping the script.
You know, we've got a lot going on in our society, and it's time the
Mhm.
janitors got their due.
Yeah.
I just think in space it gets all the way.
Take
flipped.
those engineers down a peg. They've been so
Yeah,
uppity
exactly.
recently.
Yeah.
I like to think that the janitors have a bigger ship quarters. They can tell them what to do.
You're fighting for the common man here.
Yeah, they have to unplug their like engineering consoles if they need to sweep under them. So like, hey, you got to unplug this. Like, no, this is running the ship. No, janitor. I said, plug it.
Yeah.
This is
'Cause
keeping the dilithiums contained. And then he's like pointing at fake glasses. Oh, the lithium crystals. Talking about dust here, motherfucker.
I think this is turning into a one-man show.
No. We're here engaged as an audience. That's an interesting perspective there, because if without the engineers, that ship is just not working, and they don't live.
I mean, the
Yeah,
android,
but without the janitors,
does everything.
Uh-huh.
the janitors without the janitors, life devolves into chaos. I mean,
Into hell. I hear you. I mean, I've heard stories about the ISS.
the android,
oh really?
the android gets to be on the bridge the whole time. And what is she if not the officer in charge of feelings?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
Well, that's an important job, man.
it is.
There you go.
Hugely.
Everybody has them, except for engineers. The janitors have completely dehumanized them. That's
I didn't realize you had such a bias against.
know.
Like, you're like
There's a
racist
hot
against
button.
engineers.
We've got an
I just
engineer
like
feelings.
the idea that the whole thing would be flipped.
Mhm.
And
He
Yeah,
just
sure.
chose to respect the people who handle his poop.
Yeah.
Well, that
But he keeps
is-
asking them to handle his poop just like that all the time.
Well,
It's
I
bad.
want
It makes
a
sense.
specialist. I don't want just any engineer Dick or Harry to come handle
I think
it.
if I was a janitor, I'd be resentful because Data doesn't have to poop, but he does anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Well, we didn't settle on an answer to that question last time.
He
but-
can if needed.
I mean, there's nothing else that can make you feel more human than pooping.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
Except putting an engineer in his place.
Wait, there
Yeah.
are lots of non-human
Exactly.
that poop. though. Like all sorts of animals poop.
All sorts of them do. Yeah. Some say all of them, but that
One
sounds like
could
engineer
say-
talk.
I mean,
Oh,
What did the janitor say?
too many.
oh, we got to the intro.
Mhm.
So we
Well,
were
thanks for that
watching
perspective.
Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 21, Symbiosis. Original air date April 16th, 1988. The Enterprise encounters two neighboring cultures, one suffering from a plague, the other marketing a cure, and learns that nothing is as simple as it seems.
Oh.
Man.
Erin, what do you think the IMDb rating of this episode
This
is?
sounds kind of good, actually. I'm going to say 7.3.
May?
7.
7 is correct.
Oh, that's too high.
Booyah.
Yeah.
Really?
That's
I like the idea of this episode.
Yeah. Is this like endorsement of capitalism or
No, it's a denigration of
It's
the
a-
drug culture.
Yeah,
It starts off as like it starts off as a really interesting like scientific exploration and analysis kind of thing, and it turns into like Nancy Reagan don't do drug, like just say no of episodes.
It's a really it's a very heavy-handed anti-drug episode,
Oh.
which par for the course for the late 1980s.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
TV show did this.
Does that mean we're going to see that alien dude that had the pipe?
Oh, the inhaler guy?
Yeah.
No.
Of course not, because that would confuse children
yeah.
to say no to drugs,
No.
but also to say this guy's an alien and it's okay that he's doing drugs constantly.
Yeah.
Well,
And
he
he-
needs those
And
drugs
he
to
needs them to
survive.
live.
Yeah, that was his
Medical.
like air nostrils. Like he needed that stuff. That wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's the point of this episode too, is that the people that are addicts are like they need it to survive.
Mhm. Otherwise,
Do
would
they,
be
though?
addicted.
No, they don't. In the end, they actually don't.
Can't you say we're all
See, that's
addicted
the
to
thing.
oxygen?
Because that would kind of undermine the message of the episode if
Right,
it turned
yeah.
out
In a
that
good way,
they
man.
really did need it to live. That
Yeah,
would kind
I think that would be like, oh, sorry. Yeah, you guys did need that.
this is the episode I think where there's Tasha and
Yes. Yeah,
Wesley have that talk where Wesley's like,
Yes.
I don't understand why people do drugs.
Yep.
yeah. Yep.
Tasha's like, there are many reasons why people may do drugs, and
yeah,
it's like a little mini lecture right in the middle of
depression,
the
gangs.
It's like an after school special right in the middle of a Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more you know.
I didn't rewatch this, but I remember that speech where she's
Yep.
telling you.
Is
about all-
this the
You
speech that
remember
got you off
who
drugs?
the guest star is?
I do. It's the unfortunately named Merritt Buttrick.
That is correct.
There he is, right there.
Yeah, Merritt's
Son
weird.
and all.
I think he should have leaned into that name.
Yeah.
And
I got
Well, he died.
I got a trick to show you. What kind? But
yeah, he died a year after this came out.
Kind of a sad story. He had AIDS, and they cast him in this because he lost his health insurance and needed work
Mm.
to pay health care. So they, as a sort of a favor to him, because he was part of the Star Trek family, they cast him in this episode. And then he died almost right after this, right,
Oh,
Sean?
yeah.
Well, he died in '89, so it was
Not long.
a year after, but yeah, shortly after.
Yikes.
Sorry, didn't mean to bring the room down.
No.
Now,
That is-
the other guest star in this episode is also in Wrath of Khan.
Oh yeah, who's he?
So the guy on the other side, so Merritt Buttrick is one of the ones who needs the drug. One of the drug dealers is the guy who plays Joachim or Joachim or whatever.
Oh, he's playing the guy who played Khan's son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ah, that's why you seem familiar.
The one with the hair.
The one with the hair.
Yes. Yep.
Do you remember him, Erin?
Nope.
What? You
I
said
mean,
he
why
was
do you
cute.
even ask these questions?
She's like,
come
she's
on.
mouthing me. What is Wrath of Khan right now?
It was the best movie.
Do you remember Merritt Buttrick from Wrath of Khan?
I remember you guys making fun of his name.
Do you remember Do you remember Kirk having a son in the one with Ricardo Montalban?
Yes.
He's also in 3. He's also in Search for Spock.
He gets killed in 3. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know why we torment you by asking those kind of questions. It's just a waste of everybody's
What episode
time.
is Whoopi Goldberg's first episode?
Season 2, episode 1.
There you go.
That is correct.
Good job.
So what is that episode called?
Oh,
Just kidding.
Nah, we didn't even tell. We haven't told her.
Mhm.
That wouldn't be fair to make her know.
I don't even know what it is.
It's called Whoopee Cushion.
It's called Sister Act in Space.
Yeah.
So the other day, I sent Erin a little present,
Yeah.
and I wonder if you had a chance to take a look at it.
Hell yeah.
And if you want to tell us a little bit of
Yeah,
what
let me give you a teaser from it, and we can have a little read along, periodically. But I think this will pick it.
We could
up.
turn it into a regular segment where every week you
'Cause I
tell us
think what I'm
tell us
about
a
to
new
do
thing
is
you've learned.
gonna leave you wanting more. So
the
title,
present that she got is go ahead.
it's called "Baby Don't Hurt Me" by Chris Kattan. Stories
Chris
and
Kattan.
stars from Saturday Night Live.
It's a book.
And I read most of the first chapter, which is quite good.
Mhm.
Really funny. It gets into the origin of Mr. Peepers. Yeah, there you go. But what I was leafing through it and seeing, when do they talk about Corky Romano?
Mm-hmm.
And I found chapter 15. You guys want some cookies?
This is the chapter title.
And I'm just going to read the first paragraph and tell me that you won't want more at some point.
Go ahead.
Whenever people tell me they loved Corky Romano, I usually don't believe them. And the reason isn't as obvious as you might think. It's not because of scenes like the one where I'm driving an orange Fiat and singing Take On Me by Aha. It's because making the film was painful and creatively damaging.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Are you intrigued?
Are you
That's
not-
right. That's right. That's so.
I would like to know more. I would.
That's all I'm giving you today.
Mhm.
I expected more drug references, but
That was only like the first few sentences.
The rumor that I think we talked about on the show is that supposedly Paul Thomas Anderson, creator of, Boogie Nights and Magnolia, serious artsy filmmaker, did an uncredited rewrite on the Corky Romano screenplay.
Can be
So I want to hear when you get to the part about Corky Romano if he confirms that story.
Oh, he confirms that.
He confirms it. We've gotten through this chapter. He confirms it, and he talks about how.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Oh, we're getting another taste. Good.
I'm gonna get another
One more taste.
Okay. He
This
says,
is how you get people on
Paul
drugs.
Mhm.
Thomas fucking Anderson. If only I could tell every critic who gave Corky a bad review. Oh yeah? Well, Paul Thomas Anderson helped write it, dickhead.
Oh, this is going to be a good segment. I'm looking forward
Right?
to this.
Yeah.
We have to come up with a name for it.
This is a good book. Like, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. It's good. Also, if you like the art of comedy, like the actual process, he gets into some funny stuff about how they developed Mr. Peepers or the groundlings.
It's nuanced.
So it's good for people who study it too, who want to know more about
Peepers.
the work behind comedy.
Yeah. Nobody here would.
We'll call it.
I like that.
We could call it Donkey Punch: Stories from Chris Kattan's life, and every week you give us a story.
Oh, there
I
he
think it's
is.
the present.
The plural of donkey punch is donkeys punch. Like.
Yeah, sure. Like attorneys general. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, there he is. Merritt Buttrick, not looking
There
too
he
good.
Oh, he looks ill.
Well, he's playing a drug addict.
Yeah. I'm guessing they used no makeup, that he was probably pretty gaunt like that already.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, he does have that alien ridge on his
they give them a little
nose.
ridge.
Oh yeah, there's the other guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or as he's known, the guy with the hair.
Yeah, with the hair. He still has the hair.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's like fantastic.
Oh, they are so into those drugs.
All right, FMK.
Oh my God.
3 guys. That guy, Mary Patrick, and
Those
the
2
guy
guys?
with the hair.
Well, once you AIDS, so if you,
I gotta kill him. Yeah, he's too intense. Then I would marry him.
Yeah, you marry him because he's the guy who's got all the drugs.
Wait, you're talking about
Farmer?
spray tan?
You're calling him the guy with the hair, but let's not ignore the posture, which is also very imposing.
Yeah. And
Stands up very straight.
And the skin coloring.
And the foil jacket.
Yeah.
I like everything about that guy.
He's a hot potato ready to pop. Burst, man. Burst with flavor.
And you're sure he wasn't in V? He just I don't. Oh, what is going on?
Ponfar?
This is maybe I'm ponfaring wrong. That's why I still have these. What? They got like these energy attacks or something.
This is like, wait, this is the part of the Siegfried and Roy show I never understand.
The part where the tigers went away for like 90 minutes.
Yeah, you're like, wait a second.
They were embracing.
Wait, why is there all this story element? Where are the white tigers? What do you guys think on that future take on like a hick overalls outfit?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a apron wearing blacksmithy.
He's got like sandals on too.
I know, it's weird. He's like hippie / farmery / got a dress on. I like it.
I like the texture of the material. It's sort of crinoline-y. Yeah, it's
rumply,
like,
yeah.
Oh, speaking of posture, look at that guy. He was standing very straight.
Yeah, there's a lot of erect people in here. They're very erect. A lot of them.
Well, they're in the military. They're supposed to stand up straight.
Yeah.
No. What's he carrying? Look like a giraffe.
Where's he going?
Yeah. Dude, this guy could be like, he could just jump over to like the original Battlestar Galactica. He could jump over to the new Battlestar Galactica. Yeah. I mean,
hey, Minh.
Yes.
You're right. That guy who plays Joaquin in The Guy with the Hair, he was on V.
Nice.
He was on the TV series version of V.
Yeah. He just has that stare.
Yeah. Well remembered, Minh. That's impressive. Considering you never know the names of anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing that you made that connection.
Yeah, you couldn't name
it was like the moment when we learned he was a fan of Prison Break.
Yeah, exactly. Every once in a while he surprises you with one you're not expecting.
Yeah. He takes in certain things. Yeah, I'm kind of looking through Min's eyes. Like, I'm imagining, like, it's sort of like Jordy LaVore. It's like he can see that guy clearly, but everybody else is kind of a weird blur.
I'm like really smooth over most of my body, but every now and then you'll get this really interesting crinkle ridge. Right?
You're like 90% face blind, but the 10% that you remember, you really remember well.
Yeah. He goes on to the important faces.
His last credit is in 2002, but he's not dead, so I don't know what he's been doing the last 20 years of his life.
Hey, you're not dead. What have you been up to?
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably like 80 years old or something, isn't he?
No, he was born in 52, so he's 60. Right?
No, 52.
Almost 70.
He's almost 70.
So what's up with their noses? Is it the drugs?
Nah, that's probably like their alien makeup.
It's their alien look.
It's a minimal.
Yeah,
it's what they took the design from this episode to create the Bajoran look.
Yeah, whenever they want somebody to look alien, they slap a thing on their nose and call it good. Like,
Yeah, because you don't want to get it too. You don't want to go full makeup on all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because remember that last time they went full makeup and that guy had that thing in front of his mouth all the time.
Oh, that part was cool. That was the best thing they ever did. That's
Philippe
literally
was
the
into
only
that.
like truly aliens they ever do. The rest seem like meh.
well, it's expensive. Makeup is, those prosthetics are expensive.
Yeah.
I would go as him if I cosplayed right there. Yeah.
That
That'd be
guy?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you already have the shirt, so.
Yeah. I would just need to get that hair, work that hair. Where'd you see me in that shirt before, Philippe?
You would look great in that shirt, man.
Mm.
Yeah.
If you don't already have it, get it.
Yeah. I should get it. I'll hunt it down.
Man, you know how before we started recording, you were talking about how you're like, we were talking about how our like reflexes have sort of dulled as we're getting older.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching this show on Netflix called Floor is Lava.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard it's good.
It's great.
I've never heard of
it. Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's popular. I mean,
it's fun, but it's one of those shows where they have like a really obnoxious guy doing the voiceover and like making lame jokes during the like competition, kind of Wipeout style, where they're like doing like snarky commentary, and it's just like I could do without that. Like just do the game and leave the jokes aside, because the jokes are never fun.
Us. Leave jokes to the Warp Crew.
Yeah, leave the jokes to the professionals. The unpaid podcast hosts.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
We're
raw.
paid in.
Man, you familiar with Floor is Lava?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Did you ever play that game when you were a kid that your floor was lava and you had to jump around on the furniture?
Yeah.
That is the premise of the show.
It
takes place in a big room that they have mocked up to look like various rooms in a house. There's like a kitchen set and a bedroom set, and there's all these pieces, and they flooded the room with some sort of Kool-Aid looking goop that's supposed to be lava. And there's an entrance and an exit, and teams of 3 have to go through this obstacle course,
and you
try
jump
and
and you
get from
climb
one side of the room to the other without falling into the quote unquote lava. It could not be simpler. It is It is literally the simplest game ever invented, because the only rule is don't fall in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have like some subtle rules about like, can you touch it a little bit, or if you touch it at all, you're like?
There's some sort of like, if you get a little bit on you, you're okay, but if you go in more than a certain amount, you're like dead.
Okay. Yeah, because I kind of wonder about
every once in a while there's like large splashes that come out of the lava, like the lava explodes at times and that hits them, and that doesn't.
And it's very slippery because they're constantly like slippy sliding around trying to maintain their balance on shit. It's dumb. But the point is,
it is very dumb, but it's hilarious.
So dumb. But it is kind of fun to watch. In very short, I realized I couldn't binge it because I watched 2 in a row, and by the end of the second one, I was like, I hate everything about this. I took a few days off, and then I watched a third one, and I was like, oh, okay. The trick is you just have to watch one every once in a while, and not, because otherwise it's too aggressively stupid, and it makes your brain fall out.
I imagine like a Ninja Warrior. It's rock climbers do really well in that show.
Well, these are more sort of like regular people. Yeah, Ninja Warriors are like, they've trained for that shit. These are just like regular people, which is why I brought it up, because when we were talking about our reflexes and stuff, watching this show, it's people like our age, some of them, and they do these kind of leaps. And some of these people take pretty hard like falls when they're jumping from like one piece of furniture to the other.
Sure.
And I watch the show and I'm just like, and these are not people who are in noticeably, some of them are, but a lot of them are just normal looking people. And it's like, if I would, I would feel like I would seriously hurt myself if I tried to jump from like one thing to another thing. Like they hit their jaws on things.
Yeah, I mean, and
I feel
they
like
don't look soft.
You'd crack a tooth or like
Are they wearing helmets?
Off.
Nope.
No.
What?
They have no padding and they don't
At
have
all.
like knee pads on. And sometimes they jump and they land on their knees. And I'm just like, fuck, that's gotta be terrible.
Ow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
whereas in my 20s, I never once thought about my knees. Now I think about my knees all the time.
Right.
I spend about 45% of my day thinking about the quality of my knees.
Nice.
And that's not enough. That's not enough.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would do well.
At least a few more percent of your day.
Because then I was thinking we should go on that show. Because like, Minh, you're a climber and you'd be good at that sort of like stuff. But I would not, and I'd be too worried about hurting myself. I think there's a certain amount of bravery that's required because you're doing these sort of leaps from one thing to another, and I think I'd be too worried about hurting myself because they don't give you any padding or anything at all.
Yeah. That sounds dangerous. Or do they have anything where like you're supposed to help each other, like overcome obstacles? Like
there's like multiple pathways through, so it's like teams.
Cool,
right? And sometimes there are little like gimmicks hidden in the room where if you pull on a rope that's like it makes something come. Like there was one where they had like a chandelier, right? That was hanging from the ceiling, but the chandelier was too high up for them to reach. But they figured out that if they pulled on this rope, the chandelier would drop down to a level where they could get at it. So there's there's little like tricks that you can do to like help navigate your way through. But a lot of I've only watched 3, but so far a lot of people fail to make it through the room. Like I think I've seen one team where all 3 people managed to get through the maze, the obstacles. Like one team managed to win, and there was only one person made it through, and they still won because they were better than everybody else who tried it.
So not everyone has to get through.
My favorite part of it is when they fall in the water, they just disappear and you never see them again.
Right. Because the gimmick is that it's lava. So they don't show them coming back up out of the water.
Oh, they're just dead.
And I just want to know where they go. How do they get out of there? Where do they get them?
I think there's a guy in a scuba
You think so?
Under there.
I think they killed him.
They killed him. Yeah, that was my theory too.
Crocodiles.
I think
there's a guy under there who like holds them underwater.
Jesus.
You should produce the next show.
Anyway, if you want to watch something that's completely mindless, but will distract
you. If you ever liked watching Wipeout?
It will distract
or any show like that. It's basically all it is.
Have anybody you guys watched some of the other shows that like I've wanted to watch, like the Tag one or Titan Games? Have you guys?
I watched Titan Games.
Is that the one hosted by The Rock?
Yeah. The Titan Games, like those are actual like athletes, physical specimen. Like these guys are workoutaholics, and they put them through some pretty impressive. Like what the competitions they have to go through are pretty interesting. The ones he makes up, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What is it? Like
I have not watched.
They have to go through, or what is it? That
usually they're one-on-one competitions. Like they have one where it's called moon landing, I think, and they both start on the ground. They have to climb a ladder that's like 20-30 feet in the air, maybe not that, maybe 20 feet, and they then are on like a half circle bridge that in the middle is a large like wall that can be moved, and it's basically they run into that wall and you got to try to knock the other one off before
so it's like an American Gladiator kind of
exactly, except that you're competing against another, you're not competing against
another player.
Right.
Okay. Oh, look, they're shooting up the drugs, you guys. Look.
Oh, no.
And it's like...
They're like, yeah, that's the stuff.
The thing that they're using looks like
that's the look Minh makes when he does microdosing.
Less
Look how
crying.
disturbed she is. She's
There's
like,
less crying.
she's like,
Well, Dr. Crusher's figured it out. She's figured out what's going on
What?
Yeah.
because she couldn't find anything wrong with them when she
Oh.
did this medical test on them.
There's nothing wrong with them. They're just using the drugs to keep them enslaved, basically, to keep them addicted.
And she's like, hey, I remember medical school. I
yeah.
remember what it was like.
She's like, I took a whole unit on drug addiction. And also I snorted Adderall the whole time I was in it.
Yeah.
But everyone did it.
I like it.
Mhm.
Dun dun dun. Everybody there is a drug addict. It's a world of drug addicts.
Yeah.
This
Look
is
where the
what
war on
happens if
drugs
you
got
vote
us.
Democratic.
Mm.
Oh, here it is.
Did they get some kind
Oh, no,
of
it's not.
there used to be like the reason that TV shows always did this episode was because they would get money. Like in the 80s, the federal government like paid television studios to produce anti-drug episodes.
Storyline.
So
Yeah.
you suppose they got money from the feds for doing this episode?
I bet you it helped.
Mhm.
I mean,
I don't know.
They got like at least some kind of like, you know, if you do this kind of storyline, you can do maybe a different kind of storyline. Like, you know, maybe they'll ease
Yeah,
up.
you get like a get out of jail free card for when you want to do something a little controversial, maybe.
Does that mean 21 Jump Street's completely funded by the government?
Probably.
It seemed like
Remember
it.
when Nancy Reagan went on Different Strokes and talked
Oh, yeah.
about how he shouldn't do drugs?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit worked for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It did.
Yeah. I did not do the hard stuff.
Oh. Well, sure. But, you know, I think they were trying to keep you from the soft stuff, too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty
Well,
sure
yeah.
I
pretty
didn't do
you
any
failed
of that stuff
by
in the
their
80s.
standards.
It worked in the 80s.
You didn't do any of that when you were 8.
Yeah.
You weren't a hard drinker
No,
at 8.
she had a class and they had like all the stuff about the different kinds and it scared me off of ever trying anything.
Yeah, but you also
there
believe
was a lot of fear in our age group, like fear mongering about it.
Yeah.
They're like, if you try it, you'll get addicted. And I was like, okay.
But also at that age, you believe in Santa Claus.
So, yeah. What do you think about that?
They definitely won the rhetoric war, but that was because they were the only ones talking. You know, it's like you never heard a lot from the other side.
What? Didn't know you had Cheech and Chong, right? I mean, they
Yeah,
weren't.
that's right.
Yeah,
It was
because
Nancy
Cheech
Reagan
and Chong
versus
was
Cheech
going
and Chong.
to.
It is.
Cheech and
It was
Chong
the
was showing
entire
up.
They were showing
power-
teaching tongue at school during like you know, some kind of
Yeah,
like,
they had
social studies.
t-shirts.
Yeah, they
That
did.
was like
movies.
fresh
There were so many
And,
movies
like-
about like kids getting ruined by drugs or something.
Yeah.
I mean, not
And it
just
was
like
always if you tried it just one time
Yeah.
yeah, you were
enough
doing,
to turn you into a stone cold addict.
Yeah.
yeah.
It worked for me.
It was like
Me too. I was a real goody in high school. I didn't do
me too.
didn't do anything bad in high school.
Mm.
I didn't even drink in high school.
I've made up for it a lot in the years since,
Yes.
but at the time it worked wonders.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to approach it. You stay
Here it
sweet
is.
and innocent,
The-
smart.
Alright. Oh, it's
Here's
gonna
the
be
Wesley.
Data's gonna be the one.
conversation.
Oh no.
No, Tasha does it because Tasha knows all about drugs. Like, 'cause she grew up on a rape planet, so she's like, people do drugs to avoid the pain of the rape gangs, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's literally what she's about.
Why did they do that? I don't get it. Well, have you ever run from your life from a rape gang?
She's
Yeah.
basically telling him you're a sheltered 15-year-old white kid. You have no understanding of what the rest of the galaxy is like, and people have all kind of reasons for wanting to avoid their pain.
Mhm,
Wow, she's
mhm.
making drugs sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Yeah.
some
you
drugs.
can tell that. I think
Pro drug one on this show.
she's done some drugs because Denise Crosby did not have to work hard to sell that shit.
Yeah.
No, Tasha for sure is no innocent when it comes to the world of drugs.
You gotta have some disposable income, which she did. So that's another thing. I didn't have disposable income to spend on drugs.
No, you
That's
don't
why you rob
necessarily.
people.
That's why that's why all the horror stories were about like kids robbing their parents and to get the drugs. That was the thing.
You could just sell your mouth for drugs.
Damn.
Wow, I guess I.
Who had that on their bingo?
Yeah. In your mouth would probably fetch a pretty good price too.
Pretty good penny. Yeah. Except, I would be hugely inexperienced, and so you don't want that inexperience, right? You want
There's
someone.
only one way to get experience, man.
You're like all hard workers out there, Philippe. I like it.
That guy looks familiar too. The guy playing the guy down on the planet.
Yeah, right. Famous actor. They really packed this episode with stars.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing
but stars.
Really terrible.
No, they normally you don't know these people at all. All right, you guys are just into like mega stars, like Tom Cruise and whatever. Oh, damn.
Some serious eye acting that goes on here.
Yeah. Just like
he holds his position pretty well too throughout the whole thing. That's got to be hard on the eyes to keep
Jonathan
that
Frakes is
position
a serious actor.
I've picked an awkward pose and I'm sticking to it.
He's committed.
I know. It's like
poor Jonathan.
Doesn't
Frakes.
anybody on their planet wonder maybe we're all just addicts?
Jonathan Frakes really did a good job on his nostril hair before they shot that. You can see all the way up there.
Yeah,
it's clean as a whistle.
You can tell he doesn't have COVID. Just missed that.
Look at that! Look how clean his nostrils look.
Imagine.
I think they might have digitally cleaned him up at a huge expense.
It's like Nipplegate all over again. He's helped a lot.
That's where all.
Why do they have magic powers? What's that part about?
I think they're just like electric eels.
They have electrical power.
It's just something they needed for this scene.
Some evolutionary thing on their planet. Gave them electrical polar.
It was like instead of giving them a gun, we'll just make them.
Been cheaper to give them a gun.
Do you guys think, speaking of our teenage drug avoiding selves, do you guys think your teenage self would think your adult self was cool? Like if your teenage self saw you now, would your teenage self be like, yeah, that guy's cool?
Wow, that's a deep question.
I
like people's responses.
And nobody likes that one.
That's more introspection than we can really handle on this show.
I think there would be some aspects that are cool, but the things that I thought were cool when I was a teenager, because I have a lot of video games and I was obsessed with video games, so probably think I was cool, but probably could think I was cool. I don't know, man. I was even dumber when I was a teenager than I am now. So I probably would have thought some pretty weird shit was.
I probably would have thought I am weird right now, that's interesting. That's not quite how I imagined you would be, but okay. That's one of myselves.
I was
You're
very
less weird now, though, than you were when I first met you.
Yeah, I know. So that would be so highly conceited.
Real weird.
Young me, right? Yeah, I was a dick.
No, you weren't. You were just weird in an adorable way.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? What do you think? What's your teenage self thinking of you?
I think my teenage self would think I was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think so. If you were like a realistic teenage, had a realistic expectations as a teenage.
I was at the time. I was like, super closeted and afraid of everything. And I think that teenage me would be like, yeah, you turned out all right. Like you came out, your life is fine, and
Yeah, I guess it depends on.
Me would be like, yeah, you did a good job.
What was your expectations for yourself at that age? Like, I guess that would be like, did you think you'd be famous or some other,
Well,
sort of like pie in the sky?
That's a different question.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right. I just think like part of how they're gonna evaluate you is what they sort of secretly think yourself is going to achieve, right? Like, or
Right. I mean, I guess I would be disappointed that I didn't become Steven Spielberg, which was sort of my plan when I
Right.
was 17 and thinking I'll go to film school and become a movie director. So that part didn't work out, but
Right.
yeah. In general, things turned out okay.
Yeah,
I
totally.
Yeah, no,
successfully
absolutely.
took enough drugs to forget my teenage self.
That's what Nancy Reagan was warning us about. We
Yeah,
cannot
she wants us
forget.
I am. I don't know what myself would have thought. I definitely am cooler now than I was in high school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, even like the way I thought of myself when I was in high school, like I did not think I was cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think I'd be pretty happy because I think that I've always, I got a job in the industry that I would have like loved to have done, and I'm pretty, okay,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think I would have been pretty proud of myself because I was like, I really wanted to do something creative, and I didn't get pushed into some career that I didn't want to do, like medical or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I would have been pretty proud of myself for doing something artistic and making a living at it and having a family. I think I would have been pretty excited about that and not dependent on my parents. Those are my big goals.
Yeah. I think my only expectations for myself were to like leave town and stay away from home for a significant amount of time. I fulfilled those objectives.
Check and check.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, leave and never return is
yeah, and make it on your own in some capacity. You know what I mean?
This is a different thing, but I've always thought that if we went to high school together, you and me, that you would have not liked me.
What? Why?
Maybe. I don't know.
Why would that have made things different?
Sean would have definitely. Sean probably could answer that question better than I could. Perspective on it, but
I mean,
I'd be I'm gonna have to side with Erin on this one.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh no! Well, now that I think about it, you were into Celeste, and her and Erin are very similar.
Oh, yikes. Who's this Celeste bitch?
Yeah. Who's this bitch?
stirring up trouble.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm just.
Matt, I
I'm
think
gonna start
the path.
texting Philippe. I'm gonna start texting Philippe in the Celeste's voice, and
oh, wow.
Now I want to know who this person
Let a couple-
is similar to. She has a voice.
just
It's probably just
a girl
Sean
I
doing a
crushed on
voice.
in high school.
Yeah, a girl. It was Sean with a voice changer. He
She was like a
catfished
quiet-
you all through high school.
She was quieter.
Celeste was great. She worked at the In-N-Out Burger, and she would give us free stuff.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That was always good when you had a friend who worked at a restaurant. Like I had a friend who her dad was a franchise owned a A&W root beer.
Oh yeah.
that's
That
a
sounds
good
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
And we would go in there and get free root beer and fries and stuff from her.
So
It was
my
awesome.
my high school girlfriend Yolanda worked at a video store, so I got to rent porn on the deal.
Oh God.
Philippe, you
So
were.
I could have blackmailed everybody in India because she had access to everything that people rented, and it was
Wow.
always enlightening.
Philippe, you had a lot of hormones running through your young body.
That's what I'm saying.
I had a lot
I
of
don't think-
hormones.
You would have been looking for.
That is true. I'm not saying I wouldn't like you. I just would. That doesn't mean I wouldn't have liked you. But I was looking for a lady whose sex was on the table.
Down to Pon Far. is what
Yeah.
you really-
Yeah. I was
Well,
like, Yeah, that was definitely a priority in high school for me. So
Yeah. I mean, some boys, their heads would burst if they didn't. So, it's like a survival instinct.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge. It's almost all I think about now, but back then at least there was nothing.
Now it's also your knees are mixed in there.
Yeah, now I have to work on my knees. And
You also have to think about your knee health.
yeah, so there's a lot of there's some competing thoughts now. But then it was like everything else can just take a backseat.
Matt, were you serious when you said you were joking about having that dream, that sexy dream about one of us?
No, I had a hardcore sex dream about one of you. That's true.
Oh, okay. Did we? And we never guessed who it was.
Minh, it's got to be Minh. It's got to be Minh or Erin, or maybe them both.
What? You got some.
I'm putting my money on Erin.
Yeah, maybe.
I thought it would be Philippe because Matt would feel the most free in that dream.
I'm thinking it's either Erin or it's Jake. Those are my two choices.
I think it's Sean and Philippe, like as a just like a
Romance.
Yeah. You guys are all rolling around, just happy.
Tender for hardcore.
Yeah, right.
I would just assume that you would assume that we'd be tender with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. You're rolling around in each other. You're just like giggling and like rubbing each other with Nutella and like, oh, lick this and then smear that, and I don't know. Oh, and throw like
lick this and smear that. That's what you think it's like, huh?
Yeah. And then you're like, let's order some Taco Bell, and then I want some churches, and then you're like, oh, let's get the bugles, and then you're just like, oh, it's like a food fight. And
there's only one way to settle this argument.
So you're imagining that my dreams are just a mashup of like everything we've ever talked about.
Exactly.
Isn't that how dreams
bugles and Taco Bell and fried chicken?
Yeah. The dreams are the way of your brain like organizing
like the short arm girl from Pawpaw comes in
right. My dreams are just every warped conversation.
Now it's sounding kind of David Lynch style.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's taking a nice twist.
A short-armed girl.
Mm-hmm. And the whole soundtrack is done by Spin Doctors.
Cruel
Little Miss
playing on a screen in the background.
That sounds way more upbeat than I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking like really slow motion to Toy Soldiers, and they fall down. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, you guys are having the orgy, so you guys can decide whatever music you want.
I think you probably have the most orgy experience. I feel like you could fit into a lot of orgies undetected.
Is that needle dick?
Yeah.
No, that's accidental insertion. We've covered that before.
You're just like, it's like the act 3 of any orgy, and if you come in greased up, nobody's gonna question you. It's just like
what?
Quality.
I think you're discriminating against yourself. Self-discrimination is the worst sort of discrimination. There's no one going to hold you down harder than you.
Well, so let me just say this.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember to go to iTunes or wherever you get podcasts to rate, review, and subscribe. Yes, you can go to Instagram at Warped the Podcast or to Twitter at Warped Trek. You can follow me at Host Warped. You can follow Minh to learn about our Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu podcasts and live streams at Wet Maynard. You can go to Instagram.com/lunar flare for merch. You can go to patreon.com/warped to become a subscriber, get access to bonus materials and additional episodes. Yeah. Until next week, thank you for listening. My name is Matt.
I'm Sean.
I'm Jake.
Philippe.
Erin.
Minh.